Hello YouTube friends, I hope I find you well, and I trust that you guys are pressing hard towards the achievement of flying colors in the final examinations. Last time we had been dealing with simplifying algebraic expressions, that's expanding brackets, factorizing, and using and dealing with algebraic fractions. So I hope you are now fine with those things. So what I am thinking of is just to do a past exam paper, the one that we have on the screen, and I believe it will be helpful in trying to sum up everything that has to do with algebraic expressions and simplifying them. So if you are new to this channel, do not forget to be part of the family. You're more than welcome. What we need you to do is just to simply click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that whenever we upload content, you'll get it while it's still fresh. So I don't want to waste much of your time, guys. What I have to do is just to jump into the question and make sure that you get the right content on time. Let's get so, all right? Okay, so the question I have here, I adapted it from the National Senior Certificate, Republic of South Africa, November 2018, paper 1, grade 10. So the questions that we are going to do here will be helpful to those who are doing ordinary level, form 3 and 4 also. So let us quickly jump into the question and see how do we do it. So we are going to start with question 1, which is reading factorize the following expressions fully, and then 1.1.1 is saying 4x minus x cubed. Let's see how we can tackle this question to get all the 2 marks. Okay, so the question is reading 4x minus x to the power 3. So let us write it down. Okay, just forgive me here. 4x, it reads 4x minus x to the power 3. Okay, so we need to look at how do we factorize this. So the first and foremost stage is to make sure that we take out what is common. So here the highest common factor that we have is x. We take out x and then we open our bracket. Then after that, this x is going to divide everything on top. So x into 4x, we remain with a 4, and then x into minus x to the power 3, we remain with x to the power 2 being the answer. So the next stage then is to verify whether the bracket itself can factorize further or not. So if we look at the bracket, we can see that we can factorize this part using what you call difference of 2 squares. So let us do that. The answer becomes x into 2 to the power of 2 minus x to the power of 2. And the next stage is ignoring those powers. That's the rule of difference of 2 squares. So we'll be having x into 2 minus x after ignoring powers, and then we open again the bracket and put the same values, 2 minus x, but this time around we are going to change from minus to plus in the next bracket. So this is going to be the answer, and that's how we tackle this question. I hope you did understood it. We need to move to the next question, which is 1.1.2. Okay, because you have it on the screen, let me not waste time. It is reading x to the power 2 plus 15 x and then it is saying minus 54. That is 1.1.2. Okay, right. So what you're going to do with this question is simple. We look at the type of factorization that we use. So we usually use what you call quadratic factorization, whereby the first stage, let me just put it in yellow because it's not much necessary. We don't need to see it. So the first stage is to multiply the end terms, and we get a product called negative 54 x to the power 2. And then we look at the factors of negative 54 x to the power 2 that can add or subtract to give us the middle term. So what are they? I don't want to go through the stages of how do we get them, but let me just show you that the factors are positive 18 and negative 3. These are the factors which can multiply. If we multiply these two, they give us negative 54 x squared. If we add them, they give us 15, which is the middle term. Right, this stage is not much necessary. Even if you don't put it, it is not necessary in the working. So let us quickly go through the part of our work. Let us do this first. Let us rewrite the question. X squared plus 15x minus 54. After rewriting this question, what you need to do is to break down this middle term so that we can have something that can be factorized by factorization by grouping. So this means we write x to the power 2, but when we break the middle term, we put these factors instead of it. So we'll be putting here plus 18x and then minus 3x. Then we say minus 54. Okay, now we're having this now. We can simply do factorization by grouping, whereby the first two are a group on their own and the last two are a group on their own. So how do we factorize this? We use factorization by HCF, whereby the highest common factor is x, and then x into x squared is x, and then x into 18x is plus 18. Then minus 3 is the highest common factor of the second part, and then we do the factorization as well. Minus 3 into minus 3x, we have x, and then minus 3 into minus 54, we get a positive because it's a negative dividing a negative. Then we have 18 there. Let's close that bracket. So we are seeing that we have got a bracket that's in common. It can act as a HCF also of the whole expression now, meaning to say we have x plus 18 being the highest common factor of the whole expression. And then what are we left with when you divide x plus 18 into x plus 18? We are left with x, and then x plus 18 into the same bracket again, we are left with minus 3, and then we put it together, underline. This marks the end of it. We cannot simplify this further. Okay, so this is how we do question 1 and question 2. To get those 4 marks, let us jump into question 3 and see how do we do it. It is reading also factorize y minus xy, then it is saying minus x, and then minus 1. Okay, that's good. So what you're going to do in this question, let me just confirm if this is the right way, because I'm not seeing clearly here. It is saying y minus xy plus x minus 1. Okay, there is a plus x there, minus 1. So this means x is supposed to be a positive. Okay, so now what we do with this question is very simple. We are starting by that stage of grouping them, meaning to say we are factorizing these 2 guys as a group and the last 2 guys also as a group. We can do that now. Alright, the first stage is taking out what is common, that's y in the first part, and then we open our bracket. Y into y, we get a 1, and then y into minus x, y becomes minus x. Okay, and then from there we have got the plus sign, we bring it down. Oh, there is nothing in common, so we say 1 is common, okay, because 1 is a factor of anything, and then we open our bracket. Now plus 1 into plus x, we see that the answer becomes x, and then plus 1 into minus 1 becomes minus 1. That's the answer. But you see, this answer can be factorized further, but what I want to tell you is that the first bracket and the second bracket are a reversal of sign. So in this case where there is a reversal of sign, you just write the first part as it is, and then minus 1 minus x there. Then you change the sign of the second bracket, or you change the sign of the coefficient of the second bracket. So here it was plus, you change it to minus 1, and then you invert the bracket. Instead of x minus 1, you interchange x and 1, it becomes 1 minus x. That's what you do in the case of what you call sign reversal, or sign reversal. Then now, after dealing with sign reversal, the next stage is very simple. We are now taking out the common bracket, which is 1 minus x, and then what is left is y minus 1. This becomes your final answer also, and then you get all the 3 marks. I hope you did understood it very well and clear there. Okay, so 1.2 has got also 3 questions. 1.2 is saying simplifying the following expressions fully. So we have 1.2.1, which is reading x plus 2 into x squared minus x plus 3. Let us look at how do we approach it. Okay, so what we have is x plus 2 and x to the power of oh sorry, I made a mistake there. Okay, so that's x to the power of 2 minus x plus 3. Just forgive me, you know, technology always do that, you know, softwares are not that perfect. All right, so what we do is, the law that we use in this first place is to break down the first bracket and then expand the second bracket. That's what we need to do. So when we break the first bracket, the components are x and 2, so we take x and it's expanding into x to the power 2 minus x plus 3, and then the second component is positive 2. It's going also to expand into x to the power 2 minus x and plus 3. Then having these expanded, what you need to do is to make sure that we remove these brackets. So the law that we use when you are removing brackets is the law which says that the term outside the bracket affects every term inside the bracket, meaning to say x affects x squared, and then you get x to the power 3, and then x affects this one, we get minus x to the power 2, and then plus 3x, and then we say plus there 2x to the power 2 minus 2x, and then plus a 6. All right, next stage is when we are now collecting like terms. So let us take x to the power 3 this side. We have minus x to the power 2 is likened to plus 2x to the power 2, and then plus 3x is likened to minus 2x, then plus 6 is no like term. Simplifying now the like terms we have collected, you'd find that we cannot simplify x to the power 3, so we put down x to the power 3, but These two can be simplified and we get a positive x to the power 2. These two can be simplified and we get a positive x, and then we have a plus 6 again. Right, when we are here, guys, we cannot simplify any further because we are done with the expansion of these brackets. I hope you did understand it and got the same answer if you were doing it ahead of me. Now together again, let us do the 1.2.2 question, which is reading 5 over is x plus 3, and then it says minus 3 over 2 minus x. Okay, so this is what you call algebraic fractions, and this is subtraction of algebraic fractions. So the first stage, guys, is to find what you call the lowest common denominator. In this regard, it's x plus 3 into 2 minus x, and then after that we have to do this very simple thing. Let me just do that with you now. So we take, let's say, x plus 3 into the whole of the common denominator, so you find out x plus 3 will go, and we are remaining with x plus 2. So what is remaining, please take it and use it to multiply the numerator of what comes out. So it multiplies the numerator 5. That's 2 minus x. All right. In like manner, let us do the same to the other side. So this means we need to remove this highlight that we have put here. Okay, so after removing it, let us do also the same process to the fraction in the right hand side. So that means we are going to be cancelling what? 2 minus x gets into the whole denominator, so 2 minus x is gone, and we are left with what? We are left with x plus 3. So what is left should multiply the numerator, and then we multiply this by x plus 3. That's the sequence. All right, when you're done with this, don't forget also to remove the highlight, okay, and move to the next stage, whereby now you are bringing down the numerators as they are. So let's bring them. We find that to the left we have 5 into 2 minus x, close it, and then don't forget this negative sign which is in between, and then 3, and then x plus 3. Okay, close the bracket. Move to the next stage. Okay, the common denominator remains the same, so we take it as it is, x plus 3 and 2 minus x. Then after that, what you need to do now is to make sure that you simplify these two parts. So 5 and 2 minus x expanded gives you 10 minus 5x. Expanding minus 3 and x plus 3 gives you minus 3x and minus 9. Then, having done with this stage, you go down to simplify like terms. So we have x plus 3 here in the denominator, and we have 2 minus x also as part of the denominator. Now the like terms, if you collect them, they are like 10 minus 9, and then you get a 1, and then minus 5x and minus 3x, you get a minus 8x. So we cannot simplify this any further. That means we have come to the end of the question itself, and this is the answer to this question. Hope you did get it well also if you were ahead of me. Right, what I'm going to do is now to advance to the 2.2.3 question. Let's do that together. Okay, so here we find 1.2.3 is reading 25 to the power negative x dot, which is multiplied by 15 to the power x plus 1, all over 3 to the power x minus 5 to the power negative x. let's see how we can do this one together, all right, without wasting time. So let's put the question on the board, on the screen. Okay, so we have what? We have 25 to the power of negative x. Then we have dot, which is multiplied by, we have 15 to the power of x, that's minus, oh, is it x plus 1? X plus 1, and then all this over 3 to the power x, and then dot 5 to the power of negative x. Let me confirm with the question whether I did this properly or not. We said it needs to be okay, 5 to the power negative x is correct, 3 to the power x, and then minus x there, and then there's a plus 1. That's correct. Okay, now let's move on. This means what we are going to do is to express both the numerator and the denominator in terms of the same base of exponents. So this means 25 now needs to be expressed either in terms of 3 or in terms of 5. So it's possible we can do that. 25 is 5 to the power 2, so we write as 5 to the power 2 raised to the power of negative x. And then 15 can be written as 3 times 5, k, both raised to the power of x plus 1. And then the denominator remains 3 to the power x and 5 to the power negative x. Okay, so this is the first stage whereby we are expressing everything in terms of, you know, similar base of powers. Now simplifying these according to laws of indices, we are taught that here we multiply the powers, so the answer becomes 5 to the power of negative 2x. And then according to those laws again, we are taught that the term outside the bracket affects every term inside the bracket, meaning to say the power is affecting these digits one on one. Okay, so this means this is going to be 3 to the power of x plus 1 times 5 to the power of x plus 1 all over 3 to the power of x dot 5 to the power of negative x. Now let us look at how do we advance it. Okay, the next part is now when we are trying to use the laws of indices by collecting these things, like, let's call it collecting them like terms, but it's not the perfect way of expressing it. Okay, so we are going to have 5 to the power of negative 2x multiplying 5 to the power of x plus 1, and then all this multiplied by 3 to the power of x plus 1. Let's divide this. Okay, the denominator remains the same, don't forget it. Okay, dot 5 here to the power negative x. All right, now what we are going to do is we are going to simplify these two. According to the laws of indices, we are bound to add the powers, meaning to say we have 5 to the power of minus 2x plus x plus 1. This becomes minus x and then plus 1 multiplied by 3 to the power of x plus 1, and then remember the denominator, 3 to the power x and 5 to the power negative x. Right, next stage here, guys, what you can see is this. Now we cannot cancel anything here because the numerator still have plus and sign and minus sign, meaning to say it's it needs to be simplified further by the laws of indices. So we are going to apply the law of indices, which says if we are adding the powers, then it means we are multiplying the bases, meaning to say here this becomes 5 to the power negative x multiplying 5 to the power positive 1, and then this is multiplying 3 in like manner to the power of x, and then multiplied by 3 to the power of 1. The denominator remains 3 to the power x by 5 to the power of negative x. Okay, so now when we are here, we find that there is no plus, there is no minus. It becomes easy for us now to cancel those like terms. Now let's do that. You'd find out that there is 3 to the power x in the denominator, there is 3 to the power x in the numerator. There is 5 to the power negative x in the denominator, there is 5 to the power negative x in the numerator. But what we are left with becomes our answer, and it is not cancelled, so we are left with 5 to the power 1 multiplied by 3 to the power 1, which gives us an answer called 15. So this is how we managed to get to the final answer and got all the marks. I believe if you were doing also ahead of me, you got the same answer. If you didn't do so, it's not a problem. Don't worry, don't panic yourself, just do corrections. You will learn from mistakes. Now the last question is 1.3, which is saying determine the value of 3p plus q to the power 2 if 9p squared plus q squared is 12 and pq is minus 3. Let's do this question very quickly together as a family. This is going to be the last question. So let us rewrite it also. Let's just put it on the screen. All right. Okay, there we go. So it is saying determine the value of 3p plus q squared. So we have got 3p plus q, all this to the power 2. Let us not waste time. We are given the values that we'll substitute later. So according to the law that x to the power 2 is given as x times x, or x times x repeated, we are seeing here that the bracket to the power 2 means the bracket is multiplying itself twice. So we have got 3p plus q multiplying 3p plus q, right? That's the first way of doing it, expressing it in simplest form. Then the next stage is when we are now expanding these brackets. Do not worry guys, I told you that when you have two brackets or more, you just break the first one so that you can expand or build the second one. Let us do that quickly. 3p is the first component, it gets into the second bracket, 3p plus q. The next component is plus q, it gets into the second bracket, 3p plus q. Okay, then what's the next stage? The next stage is when we are now factorizing, when we are now expanding, we are in expansion. When we are now expanding using the rule, the term outside affects every term inside. So 3p times 3p, we get a 9p squared. 3p times q, we get a plus 3pq. And then here, again plus 3pq. And then finally plus q squared. Okay, there is a shorter way of coming to this stage, but I rather use the longer way so that I can help someone else. If you know the shorter way, just use the shorter way. Now we have 9p to the power 2 plus a 6pq and plus q to the power 2. All right, now we have this simplified, but according to what we are given, is we are told here in the question, if you can read it well, it reads that 9p to the power 2 plus q to the power 2 is 12. So since 9p to the power 2 plus q to the power 2 is 12, we need to rearrange our terms so that they can give us this. If we do that, we take this one and this one, which is giving us 9p to the power 2 plus q to the power 2, and then plus 6p and q. What are we going to do? This whole value, according to what they told us, we are going to put a 12. That's what calls substitution now. And then 4 plus 6, okay, PQ, we are also taught that PQ is going to be replaced by what? By negative 3. So you're going to say 6 multiplied by negative 3. And negative 3 is representing PQ. Alright, let me now use this part to finish this whole thing. Alright, so meaning to say we now have 12 minus 18, and the answer becomes minus 6. Okay, this is how we get to the answer and also collect all the 3 marks. So guys, I believe and hope that you enjoyed part of this lesson. If you enjoyed it, do not forget to give a thumbs up to this video, and also you know, share it with others so that we can get more, you know, subscribers on our channel. And if you are also part of, you know, those new people, do not forget to subscribe and be part of the family. That is good for you guys. See you next time when we will be doing question 2. I hope you did enjoy this video. Let's meet next time. Sharp. God bless you.